in the cage. He's gritty. What we love best about him too, though, I mean, he is the quarterback. He is second in the country in assists per game. He's one of 5 finalists for the Thornton Award.
A tall task, Matt, for Drexel, which is in the NCAA tournament for the 2nd time in program history, and they're red hot. Last loss was 57 days ago.
9 straight. 2 of those wins were revenging the losses they had earlier in the season against Delaware and UMass. They have showed up today. They're going to compete, and this is a team that's deep. They have 6 players with more than 10 goals on this roster, so they're a very talented team.
And they've got a goalie that's playing pretty well. Also, the junior Ross Blumenthal from Baltimore, who in the CAA championship game against Hofstra last Saturday had 8 saves in the first half. His teammates said he was standing on his head. And at the other end for Notre Dame, Liam Entenmann, what a season for the sophomore.
Yeah, Entenmann led the ACC in saves per game and saves percentages and the least amount of goals. So, you know, he's gotten better too. And I know Coach Corrigan early in the year had questions. We haven't really seen him play a full 4 quarters, right? He's been great for 3 quarters, but he's maybe kind of faded off towards the end of the game, but they're going to need him to play at a high level.
Well, we had some lightning out here right when warm-ups were getting started. You wouldn't know it right now with this weather, but we are getting underway, just a little bit delayed, and Notre Dame controls the first face-off. Matt, what are we going to see from Notre Dame offensively against this Drexel D?
You know, again, when you look at this Notre Dame team, it is very well-rounded, right? They have a lot of depth in the midfield, but most of the time it's going to get through X, and Pat Cavanaugh is going to be that quarterback. He is flashy, but he also, he just doesn't make mistakes. He has very few turnovers. He is gritty. I mean, if I'm Notre Dame, I'm going through him on every possession.
Here he is from X. Sean Quinn is 43 in the Navy for Drexel. Draws the assignment. He's going to see a lot of Pat Cavanaugh here today. Low angle shot, and Notre Dame strikes first with Wheaton Jacobois.
This is what you're going to see from Notre Dame on the offensive end, just sound team offense. You can see York here. The slide comes, the quick pass to Dobson, and the one more to Jacobois. You love to see that if you're Notre Dame, a team that probably feels a little... Coach Volker said, hey, we got to get them to slide. We have to find someone who can create an advantage, force Notre Dame to slide, and then that's when Drexel at their best on their off-ball movement and feeding the crease. As they they tied the score at 1 here with a...
And it's 1-1 early on.
And right here, again, this is that offense. They force the slide, then they find the inside, and a nice save from Entenmann. But it's off the rebound here, in and out of his stick to the far post. This Drexel team, they're going to bring it. I mean, they're feeling confident. They've won 9. And so far in their first 2 offensive possessions, they are executing. They are making Notre Dame slide, and they're creating opportunities off ball.
Here's 21. This is Reed Bowring, 5th-year senior from British Columbia, the most outstanding player of the Colonial Tournament, creeping up on being the all-time leading goal scorer at Drexel, and he puts the Dragons in front.
A 2-1 lead, beginning to believe that they are going to be in this game, and Bowring, the Canadian, the lefty, right here, matched up against Harris, low to high, around here. Look at the screen here. I mean, no way Entenmann.
For the reason, Matt, you said he's probably your favorite to watch in the country right now. He's special. A bouncer scores for Morrison Meyer to level it at 2.
From Cavanaugh, gets him a possession, and then it leads to this effort here by Meyer, sweeping across the field to his left hand, pulling it to the far post. Look at the hips, right? It's all, the accuracy comes from getting your...
Wheaton Jacobois had the first one for Notre Dame, and he puts them back in front with goal number 2.
Cavanaugh gets all the attention in the lacrosse world, but it's this midfield to me that is going to make this Notre Dame team a big-time threat to take the championship. Jacobois to the middle of the field, the patience, the perfect placement to give the Fighting Irish the 1-goal stretch. They beat UMass, they beat Delaware, they beat a very good Hofstra team. I mean, this is a team that they're there. I mean, this is a very good team, and they're showing it here early on in this contest.
Trouble with the clear, and it leads to a Will York goal, and Notre Dame leads by 2.
Will York, the transfer from Bucknell. Hallenbeck with the pass, and just right here, step up. York as good as anyone in that little corner. Low to high. I mean, that's just filthy. The near side, in and out of his stick, this offense, in the best way he sees fit to attack the Drexel defense.
You see, he's a Tewaaraton finalist, named that yesterday. First sophomore to be named such since some guy named Pat Spencer back in 17. And just when you wondered where was Pat Kavanaugh, behind the back for a goal for the Irish.
I mean, he's a very, like, I don't want to say basic, but it is. And then he just does this, where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to throw it behind the back and just ping the far corner on a perfectly timed cut. So for someone who's so sound, who always makes the right decision, he can do some.
Kavanaugh quarterbacking, 15 to shoot. Oh, and he scores! Turning back toward GLE, Kavanaugh's got his second.
And another scenario where Kavanaugh has Quinn hung up in front of the cage, and then right there, just a quick semi-question mark, right? He doesn't really step away, but he's able to get the ball in and out of his stick.
For Notre Dame after Drexel led 2-1. Coming up on the final 3 minutes of the second quarter, and a long scoreless stretch for Drexel. Zach Augustine feeding for Waller, and Entenmann made the stop, but Bowering stuffs it home.
Entenmann with the save here on Waller, excuse me, and then Bowering. The nice footwork to stay out of the crease until the ball was in the back of the cage and to avoid the goal mouth. Drexel able to stop the bleeding.
John Leahy, the Providence transfer, part of the second line midfield group for the Fighting Irish. And he scores to answer right back.
This dodge, re-dodge, sets it up by attacking hard to his left so he can roll back to the middle of the field and increase angle, and gets it off just in the nick of the time as the defense collapsed and throws the bounce shot pass. Read it all day long. You have to start getting him to think that you're going to do something different, and Drexel hasn't shown the ability to do that just yet.
And I've heard Kark talk about this throughout the season, that Entenmann just does a really good job on shots that are low. I mean, he's got a wide base there, and he goes down to get it. Well, right on cue, Drexel scores. They trim this to a 3.
Conley, the redshirt freshman, their leading scorer. The nice patient dodge. I mean, you know, Entenmann's going to make you do that to beat him. Look at no angle off the far post. Perfect placement. That is a elite.
Look at the stats, and it is indeed a big trip down for Drexel, trailing by 3, but with the first goal of this second half, and here's Mulcahy scoring, and it's a 2-goal game.
Funny how that happens. Mulcahy to the middle of the field. Notre Dame slow to slide, plants his feet. Entenmann can't keep up with it. Dragons down 2 against this
Philly right now. And some of the juice coming from the Drexel fan base here in Denver. But off the turnover, Lipka answers right back.
What can't Pat Kavanaugh do? Right here, he's going to intercept this pass. And then Lipka looks off the Drexel defense, and the elevator shot again. Talk about changing planes. That's it right there to perfection.
And Brian Volker told his team this week, look, we've got to win because when we were here the first time, we won this first round game. Drexel scores, and it's Aiden Cole's first.
Pinpoint accurate pass. Again, you get Notre Dame sliding, and Cole with the nice cut to the back post. And the near side finish for the Dragons within 2 minutes left.
Under 50% capacity, packing the bleachers. Drexel faithful getting into it. Final 30 ticks of this third quarter with Drexel down a pair. Mulcahy feeds Bowling, and it's a one-goal game.
The first 5 goals for the Dragons were all unassisted. The next 2, the result of pinpoint passing. Mulcahy does a nice job getting the ball to Reed Bowering, who's now got the hat trick. Guess what? Dragons are within 1.
Tomac. Bowering wants another rebound goal, and this game is tied. Are you kidding me?
Beginning to believe in Notre Dame, beginning to doubt. We're tied at 8, and right there, just the subtle shuffle shot. The awareness. Give me a break, he's been phenomenal.
Notre Dame with just 1 goal this half on 24 shots in the direction of Ross Blumenthal. And they take the lead! Wheaton Jacobois puts the Irish in front.
I think that's been their best offensive set, and Jacobois dodges down the alley. He's a left-handed player. Do you see the subtle head fake and the shoulder drop? He gets Blumenthal to bite, and he's able to put it to the top corner.
Deep runs in May. They started with Meyer.
Meyer's in a tough spot here. He's able to break through. If I'm Notre Dame, I like the ball behind the cage here. If you do turn it over, make Drexel clear the entire field. Again, it's one of those things though, right? So you get that goal, you go up 2, now you got a face-off, right? Like if you're at a point, if you're Drexel, you almost get the turnover, let him score. Because they could have killed the entire clock, right? But Meyer does a nice job showing his athleticism. An empty net. Certain coaches always say take the goal. Some coaches say, hey, maintain possession because we can run this entire clock down. So we'll see. Notre Dame has to like their chances, but again, giving Drexel a chance. And here we go.
And Jimmy Corda gets a big win. 35 seconds now for Drexel, down by 2. It's season hanging in the balance. Chenord. Off the deflection, off the official. Drexel with 2 of its timeouts remaining, both of them. And they will use 1 here with 21.7 to go in regulation, down by 2. Brian Volker pretty calmly getting an explanation there. Short-lived with his team down by a pair. It was 8-8. Wheaton Jacobois put Notre Dame on top. He's got a hat trick to pace the Irish. And for now, Wheaton Jacobois, our player of the game, brought to you by Capital One.
He started the game scoring for the Irish and then netted the most important goal as this game was tied at 8. on the individual dodge. A master of his craft. That last goal was so impressive. It was the slight head tilt and shoulder dip that got Blumenthal, who's essentially a brick wall, to move ever so slightly low and buried it to the top corner of the cage.
And now Donnelly lost it. Arden Cohen was all over him. Final 12 seconds for Drexel, down by 2, and they throw it away. And Notre Dame should be moving on to the quarterfinals. Notre Dame got handed absolutely everything it could have imagined from a talented and intense foe in Drexel, who brought it. But Notre Dame is moving on to the quarterfinals with a 10-8 victory over Drexel.
Credit to both teams battling to the very end. Drexel brought their A game, and they were tough and gave Notre Dame everything they could handle. What a showdown.
So the Irish moving on. They'll get the winner of Maryland and Vermont, a game coming tomorrow.